Good morning, Card Communities. RJ back with another video. So let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day from 1984, Topps Nestle release. Now, I had pondered for a while, how were these cards released? In other words, were they pack issued? Were they issued as a full set? How did one acquire the Nestle cards? Turns out it was only through mail-in you could obtain the right amount of packages and send in a request with a stamp and a certain couple of bucks. And what they would send you is one of the uncut sheets of the Topps set that had the Nestle stamp in it instead. You can see the shape in this corner is the exact shape to put in the Topps logo, but Topps simply dropped in a Nestle logo instead. And this is how you acquired these cards. They were only issued in complete sets. So any card you have that's a Nestle card, somebody cut it out of a sheet. That's the only way you could get it. This is according to Beckett.com, so this is where I'm getting that information from. Interesting, I thought. There was a couple different Mike Schmidt cards. This is simply the base one. There was All-Stars, League Leaders, things like that. 1984 Topps Nestle card. I thought that was interesting about how you could get one. My random baseball item of the day. Thinking back to stupid Philly things that we've done in the past. So here is, I was looking at rookie cards recently, trying to see if I had any old rookie cards where a player suddenly is really good and I need to move it out of my bin of rookies into my bin of stars. Came across this gem from the 2018 Topps set, rookie card of Mr. Scott Kingery. Scott Kingery had a decent year in 2017. He hit 26 home runs, had a 304 batting average. The Phillies thought so highly of him that they signed him to a multi-year deal worth $28 million. And Scott proceeded to suck for the remainder of that contract. I was looking up the salaries, and every year it started to balloon. He got $1 million the first year he played. Then it was like, 2, 3. Anyway, the last year he actually played for the Phillies was 2022. And he was still under that contract, and they gave him $6 million. The next year, he was still under that contract, but he only played at the AAA level. But it was a guaranteed contract, and his salary was $8 million. Then in 2024, so just last year, he played again in the minors all year, and never once made it to the Phillies major league team. Played in the minors all year long, earned $1 million. In fact, I think we bought out his contract and signed him as a free agent for $1 million and sent him to Lehigh Valley, and he never got out of it. Now we finally let him go, just gave him his outright release, and he signed as a free agent in the Angels farm system. So he is officially a California Angel property now, and he's in their minor league system somewhere. So Scott Kingery, many, many, many high hopes for this man who never panned out. Just one of the thousands, tens of thousands of individuals who with giant aspirations to make the major leagues, who are often highly touted, but never are able to make the grade. So today's trivia question we're going to pause on. I'm going to go right to my showcase. We'll get back to the trivia question in a minute. When I want to show off, again, I'm into the 80s now. Last week was all about the 70s. This week is going to be all about the 1980s, and some unique and fantastic sets issued in the 1980s. Now, you might think that since I am such a fan of the boxed sets that I would go right to the box set and show those. I don't want to do that, though. Box sets are very unimpressive when you're going to show off things from the 80s. I'd much rather do some of the more very impressive things like what is known as the 1980, the start of the decade, the 1980 Topps Superstar Photo Cards. It is a set of 60 cards, about 5x7, featuring some of the greatest stars of the day, some of the most fantastic images you would ever have. These are the kind you'd put in your little picture frame if you were wants to, and they'd look fantastic. So I'm going to go through all 60 of them. So here you go. Great image of Willie Stargell. Notice he's got the piped hat under his batting helmet in this thing. And facsimile signature. Really awesome image. Bright yellow. And this is what the backs look. They just numbered. This is 1 of 60. Topps chewing gum, produced in Duria, PA. Willie Stargell, first base. So again, it's just the images you want to take a look at. Mike looks like he had a long night the night before. You can see the red of his stash there. Great looking image. Love a nice young looking Johnny Bench. I still think he looks young. He was certainly a seasoned veteran by this time. Awesome image. That's the greatness of these Grace the Top Supers. They have some of the best images of these players. Really cool Jim Palmer. I love the Orioles logo, the old school Orioles logo. Big blue eyes on Mr. Palmer. Number 22. Wonder his neck is kind of shiny. I wonder if he's got some Vaseline on there. The old Major League movie scene. Jim Rice. Spouting 2 different colored batting gloves, if you notice. He's got the white one and the black one. Interesting. Nice Boston. Awesome Reggie Jackson, looking the way Reggie Jackson should, with the Yankees and those awesome sunglasses. Some kind of t-shirt on underneath. Looks like a spring training batting cage thing. I think Ron Guidry's picture was probably taken at the same time. There's Guidry. He's got a serial number, a style batting glove here. Or not batting glove, his glove. The Louisiana Lightning. Lee Mazzilli. Heartthrob to a lot of women back in the 80s. On the Mets, Don Baylor. Looking every much like he could have been a manager back then. Seasoned veteran, a lot of knowledge in this man. Don Baylor. Freddie Lynn, still looking fairly young. Fred Lynn. Ken Singleton. I think more people should remember Ken Singleton. I think he was a great guy. Maybe it's just because I'm biased. I like the Orioles briefly in the 80s. Rod Carew. Very tight shot of Rod Carew. Not enough background to really appreciate the picture, but a good picture. Steve Garvey. A lot of big name stars, but you will see we do get to a couple who were lesser known stars. George Brett still looking every much the kid he was, although he would go on to have a .390 batting average this year. Tom Seaver with the Reds. Always whatever you think about Tom Seaver, you really want to see him with the Mets, obviously. But here he is with the Reds. Dave Kingman with the Cubbies. Interesting, this one's a little miscut here. Dave Kingman. I heard he was a problem in the locker room. I'll let you guys debate that topic. Love this Dave Parker image. Love it. Got the chain going on. This is when he was at his most dominant after this 79 World Series triumph. Dave Parker was the man. The Cobra. So glad he's in the Hall of Fame finally. Dave Winfield. Pete Rose, coming off his first year with the Phillies, has that only Pete Rose haircut. I don't think anybody else in the world had that Pete Rose haircut. Interesting here, he had a batting glove on one hand, not the other. Love seeing Nolan Ryan on the Astros. Looking at wearing that awesome orange Astros cap. Greg Nettles with the Yankees. Yaz winding down his career. I'm not sure what that is. Some kind of like patchwork, or maybe he was like all mic'd up or something, like Jose Altuve. Tommy John, coming off Tommy John surgery, no doubt. He's one of those guys who likes their finger through the glove. I was never a guy to put my finger through the back of the glove. I know a lot of people do. I was never one to do that. George Foster, still a stud at this time, still hitting massive home runs at this point in his career. J.R. Richard, James Rodney Richard, what might have been, what might have been that guy. Keith Hernandez, still with the Orioles, looking a lot like Inigo Montoya from the Princess Bride. Fantastic image. Bob Horner, he of the, all we remember of Bob Horner is 4 home runs in a game. Interesting, there's like some kind of like fold down the center of this card, if you can see it. Don't know why. Bob Horner. Great looking Eddie Murray. All the guys wearing the batting helmets on top of the cap back in the day. Interesting little thing. Steve Kemp. Most of these have that line down the middle. I wonder why. Steve Kemp, Tigers. Gorman Thomas, one of the Brew Crew guys. Big fan of the Brewers. They looked like they were like the Phillies of '93. The Brewers were Harvey's Wallbangers and all of that. Just a bunch of guys that looks like they picked them out of a prison club or something like that. Sixto Lezcano. Very young looking, happy Sixto Lezcano. Bruce Sutter, still with the Cubbies. About to help the Cardinals win the World Series in '82, but hasn't moved over there yet. Bruce Sutter. Cecil Cooper, another one of the awesome Brew Crew. Mr. Cooper. Larry Boa of my Phils. Shout out to Mr. Larry Boa. Al Oliver with the Rangers. Here's another guy I think ought to be in the Hall of Fame. Al Oliver, long career with the Padres. Check out the nickname Scoop and the jewelry. Pretty cool little thing. Love the old school Rangers text there. Ted Simmons, still with the Cardinals. Finally got into the Hall of Fame after so long. Deservedly so. Gary Templeton, before his trade with Ozzie Smith, he was the Cardinals shortstop. If you read some bios about Mr. Templeton, you'll find out he had his demons, which he could not control, and led him to be dismissed from the Cardinals. Jerry Koosman, Mr. Nolan, his rookie card is worth a ton. Some other guy named Nolan Ryan happens to be on as well. Jerry Koosman carries a value, no doubt. He was a Philly at one time. Here he is with the Twins. Darryl Porter, pretty good catcher in his own day. Love the specs. Roy Smalley had a really good, decent career. I think his father was also a ball player, if I remember correctly. Craig Swan, pretty darn good pitcher in his day. Jason Thompson. Now, here you go. Like I said, there'll be people I don't know. Jason Thompson, Tigers first baseman. I do not know Mr. Thompson. There are 60 cards in this set. So most of them are well-known players of the day, but there's some I don't know. Andre Thornton. I always think about Andre Thornton. He got traded. He was a Phillies prospect. Him and Mike Schmidt were on teams together back in the very early 70s. And then they traded Andre. I can't remember what they got in return, but they got rid of Andre Thornton. Him and Mike were friends for a long time. Don't know how he got traded. I'll have to look it up someday. Rick Manning. Remember him? Barely. Kent Tekulve. always of the shades, always had those shades on. I know he wears glasses, so I guess he just liked wearing the sunglasses. Always had a wad of chaw. Loved seeing him in his submarine delivery. He actually spent a couple of years with the Phillies in the mid to late 80s. So love me some Kent Tekulve. Nuxie, Phil Niekro never looked young. Even on his rookie card, he looks freaking old. Phil Niekro. Buddy Bell, 3-generational Bell family. Buddy. Randy Jones, former Cy Young Award winner, people always forget about. Had a great 1976 season. Randy Jones. Brian Downing, fairly mediocre guy who had 2 or 3 big productive years, hung around for a while. Here's my Amos Otis, one of the Royal, longtime Royal guys. Rick Bassetti, another one of those guys, you know the name, but don't know anything about him. Love me a Gary Carter in the old school Expos uniforms. Love that. Love that M. Love that stylized red, white, and blue M. Big time. And Larry Parrish, right along behind him. Jack Clark. You forget that a lot of teams sported those piped hats at different times in their past. Even the Phillies had one. It wasn't just the Pirates. Cardinals had one. You can see here the Giants had an orange brim with the orange piped across the black. Really awesome. Bruce Bochy, not the manager. Another guy, Bruce Bochy, first baseman. Bruce Bochy, the manager guy, was a catcher. It's spelled a little wrong, different too. It's not spelled the same. Bruce Bochy. Cesar Cedeno, very good outfielder with the Astros. Wasn't Hall of Fame worthy, but certainly a highly productive member of that club. Chet Lemon. These are all autographed. You kind of lose the autograph up there. I'm looking down here for it. It's kind of floating in space. Chet Lemon. If it was blue, they could have put it down here. Would have stood out real nice. Chet Lemon. Dave Revering, first baseman. Don't know much about Dave Revering. Vida Blue on the the Giants. Trying to see what this. Oh, it says Vida under his cap. Look at it this way, Vida. So he's got his name written on his cap. And then lastly, Davey Lopes. There you have it. The 1980 Topps Superstar Photo Cards. How do I know that? How do I know that's what they were called? Because I have a pack, an unopened pack. Now, interestingly, there were 2 versions of this, 2 print versions. One was the white backs. One was the gray backs. So this is the gray back set that I have. I do not have the white back set, but this is a pack from the white back set. You can see card number 1 was Willie Stargell. Whether it's in the white back or the gray back, the sets are the same. The packaging is the same. You would get 3 what they call autographed photo cards. Very misleading because they are not really autographed. They are facsimile autographs. Mr. Tommy John is on the front. But this one happens to have Mike Schmidt on the front. This is your prize. I have a second one of that with Mr. Schmidt on the front, so I'm willing to part with this one for the answer to this trivia question. So that's what you'll be sent if you can answer this trivia question. During the decade of the 1980s, there are 2 Hall of Fame pitchers, 2 members of the current Hall of Fame class, who are in there as relief pitchers. They were voted in as relief pitchers, but only 2 who threw their final major league pitch during the decade of the 80s. Name those 2 Hall of Fame relief pitchers. That is your question. All you need to do is shoot me an email with an answer. I will include my email in the description below, along with a repeat of that question. You will have today and tomorrow to answer. We will pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that. So with that, since we already did our showcase, I've got nothing else for you today. But I promise you we're going to have some great stuff on on Wednesday and Friday. More awesome sets to show off that came out in the 1980s. Not silly Fleer boxed sets or Tops, store boxed sets. I'm going to stay away from that and do much more interesting sets from the 80s. All right. Hope you all enjoyed that video. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz. I really do appreciate all your help as I try. I really appreciate your support as I try my best for this great card meeting. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Come back again on Wednesday and Friday for more trivia and prizes. And have a great rest of your week. Thank you and take care.